Hi, welcome to this channel on magnetic energy technology principles applications. Apparently I'm doing a video about the solar flare connection to the pole shift, so this ought to be interesting. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so this is part of a larger conversation from the 80s with the source of most of our information. So the worldwide use of electricity is the greatest destructive action of all. It's referring to like the current technology on our planet and how it's affecting the planet. Science must have the freedom of mind to investigate the core structure of the electron. With the proper equipment, it is possible to discover where every single electron is caused to be formed. It is only a matter of time when the ionosphere will be thinned to the point where our oxygen will leak out into space. Then the Earth will be unable to sustain life as we know it. The time to allow the use of free magnetic energy is now at hand because very soon we reach a point of no return. And so a lot of this conversation had to do with the survival of humanity and what the current technology is doing to the planet and contributing. So we have all these different factors. So not only is the manipulation of elements throwing off the overall balance and electricity is throwing off the balance, we got the thinning of the ozone layer, which is a huge problem for solar radiation and it could affect surface life dramatically. Then the thinning of the ionosphere, and like I just read, this idea that if the ionosphere gets past the point of no return for thinning, it causes a leakage of oxygen into space, plus a whole number of other factors that lead to this tremendous push and pull magnetically to rebalance the system, which creates hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes, all this stuff. So there's the planet is sensitive. It's a sensitive system of resonant energies that balance each other out at all time, magnetic resonant energies. And it's just really important that we have technology that's compatible with that system. So how does that all relate to solar flares and the coming pole shift? Solar flares that end up producing coronal mass ejections, or really it's any phenomenon on the sun, and it's also actually solar wind and then solar, so it could be even when the current sheet of the solar system dips into to a point where we allow cosmic radiation to come in. So it's any kind of radiation or solar or CME or anything that hits our ionosphere that causes the ionosphere to become overcharged in the state that it's currently in. The ionosphere is at this moment in time, like in this moment in history, is constantly struggling to rebalance. And then when it gets hit with more unbalancing energy, essentially, the forces become stronger and stronger to attempt to rebalance. And part of that, the reason that connects to this current pole shift, is we've got this new vortice of energy coming through our planet right now that will be our new poles. And this is only new for this cycle. This new pole, magnetic, people will call it the magnetic poles that get established, are unique in and of themselves compared to any previous poles because they're all slightly different, slightly unique in their resonance, their intensity, their spin rate, the amount of energy that flows through them, and all of these factors. And so the current pole that is forming from the South Atlantic anomaly coming through our planet, it's part of our system and everything kind of connects through the ionosphere, that distribution zone of energy. So just having an intensified ionosphere that's seeking to rebalance can push and pull magnetically, because this is all about like that force, that magnetic energy force, and then this. So we've got the attract force, and then we've got the pressure, pull, and push that happen. And if that vortice, that's that new magnetic pole vortice that's coming through our Earth right now, if it gets pushed and pulled even more intense, then it will cause it to have more power, if you will, or more strength in its completion through what is most likely going to be the North Pacific region, leading to plate destabilization and all kinds of earthquakes, volcanoes, and that could be a ripple effect around the planet. So we are in the midst of a solar cycle, and it's been quite intense lately. If you've been monitoring this, I mean, there are literally in the last, 2 or 3 days, there have been dozens of solar flares, lots of CMEs. We're getting sideswiped and hit with minor ones, so we're not, thank God we're not hitting, X-class flares aren't hitting us yet. But as that process continues, it can exacerbate the intensity and the timeline of the pole breaking through and establishing a new magnetic pole with a new toroidal field around the planet, and the old magnetic pole will fade away relatively fast after that happens. So it's just this idea that those two things are connected because basically the link of them is the ionosphere. And so part of this whole message that we've been given over and over is that electricity has to stop, because in a few different ways it is extremely detrimental to the planet, especially now that we have worldwide grids like just covering so much of the landscape, and that affects the ionosphere and causes there's a whole ripple of consequences. And so electricity essentially, according to what we were told, will not survive the pole shift. If it even, and parts of the grids may go down in this coming solar cycle that we're in right now, or the solar cycle we're in right now. Yes, part of those may go down. If we're really hit seriously, then yes, it could take down worldwide grids. But it's the bigger issue at hand, though, is post-pole shift, what happens to the ionosphere, what happens to electricity, and how that goes down. And really is no longer there, and that's really important for the survival of life on this planet, for that to happen. So, and hopefully in this next video I should do relatively soon, I will try to talk more about just some of the things, in addition to the last video on preparation, some more ideas on what we should probably think about doing to prepare for that. And if you have any questions, please submit them on this. You know, this is a very intense issue, because it really is kind of like saying, oh my God, you know, this could be the collapse of our society, because without electricity we are kind of screwed. And that's the whole idea of magnetic energy coming online and having a whole new set of much better technology that's much more efficient, much more compatible with the Earth than electricity. And yes, this is very alternative information, if I forgot to say that, very unconventional. And it is based on working technology. It's based on revelatory guidance, and part of the reason why we've taken it so seriously is because the sources, I guess I'll say it that way, the sources of the information basically validated themselves to us over and over and over, demonstrating that they knew exactly what they were talking about, and they knew exactly what to tell us, and they really kind of have a really good pulse on what is to come. So, with that said, this is just a quick video, and I just wanted to make that connection so that there's some understanding of how critical the ionosphere is in this role, and this solar cycle and solar flares, coronal mass ejections, and how it's all linked together to this coming pole shift. And okay, real quick, one of the things that I wanted to just touch on is at the etheric level. And if you're someone that is really into out-of-body experiences and that type of visioning or meditative practice, you can see this for yourself. But at the etheric level, this new magnetic pole is already established. It's already through the planet, and there's already a new toroidal field around the planet, and the old poles, if you will, have already been vanquished. So what that means is the entrainment and the guidance for the process of this new pole forming through the planet, and then the toroidal field that will result from that, is being guided, if you will, from a higher dimension, higher dimensional template energy that's already taking place. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, at a higher dimension, the new Earth, the new ionosphere for this cycle, and the new poles is already there. It's already glowing. It's already established. It's already brighter. There's a lot more energy. The new poles are significantly stronger. The magnetosphere around the planet is going to be bolstered. It's going to be much stronger than the current one. The ionosphere is going to be much stronger, which is a huge problem for electricity, but it's a great thing for magnetic technology. And so everything is already there at a higher level, at a higher dimension, if you want to call it that, at a higher resonance. It's already all there. And part of the reason I'm saying that is that we, in this pole shift process, we are already past the point of no return. It's essentially like nothing can stop the system at this point. It's just a matter of everything coming into alignment with what already exists at a higher level. And so with that, I think that's see you later. And thanks for watching. Have a great one.